TV1 රැස්වීදෙන ජීවිතේ.
Gum Mather came across the old Katupuda village in Hinguragoda in 2020 when traversing from door to door. By then, clean drinking water was a luxury to 600 families. Kidney patients were on the rise with a water purification system insufficient to meet their demands. Gum Mather came forth once more to alleviate their woes. Gum Mather, for the people, by the people.
Good afternoon and welcome. You are watching Lunchtime News on TV1, bringing you the news. I'm Paruti Kumar Singh. Up first in your headlines.
Health workers stage a series of protests. Trade unions take to the streets, demanding the removal of the surcharge tax. Increase in the number of COVID-19 patients receiving treatment at the ICUs. Bill to amend the Prevention of Terrorism Act tabled in Parliament.
Top story this afternoon. The Samagi Jana Balawege today accepted the challenge made by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa yesterday at the SLPP rally in Anuradhapura. The media spokesperson of the Samagi Jana Balawege, SM Marikar, said that the SJB challenges the Prime Minister to hold the Provincial Council election.
ගරු අගමැතිතුමා කිව්වා එතුමන්ලාට මහපාරත් ඔට්ටුයි වැල්ලත් ඔට්ටුයි.
The Honourable Prime Minister said that they are ready for anything and he challenged us to face an election. We accept the challenge of the Prime Minister. We too are ready for anything. We challenge the Prime Minister to hold the Provincial Council election that you postponed out of fear. The Samagi Jana Balawege is ready to test the mandate of the people. We will see who has the support of the people. The Salgado grounds in 2019 and the Salgado grounds yesterday was analysed by the media. This time we will not stage our rally in Colombo or Kandy. Next month we too will hold a rally at the Salgado grounds and show you who the people truly support. We accept your challenge. If you can, accept ours.
ක්‍රීඩාංගනේ තියලා අපිත් පෙන්නනවා ජනවර්ම කොහෙද තියෙන්නේ කියලා අගමැතිතුමා පුළුවන් නම් ඔබතුමාගේ අපි බාරගත්තා අපේ අභියෝගය ඔබතුමා බාර ගන්න කියලා ඉවරලා.
Today is the fourth day of the island-wide health trade union action. Health workers who are on strike island-wide have staged a series of protests today.
18 trade unions of nurses, paramedics and employees engaged in complementary medical services are on strike. Today, these trade unions have staged protests opposite hospitals in several cities. A protest was staged opposite the Badula hospital requesting immediate solutions for their demands.
Meanwhile, the strike launched by 18 health trade unions, including nurses, supplementary health workers and paramedics, will continue today as well.
The primary request of the trade unions is to accept the series of policies prepared by the University Grants Commission regarding salary anomalies. They presented a total of 7 demands to the authorities. This was the situation at the Colombo National Hospital.
Members of the All Ceylon Dengue Control Assistance Association, who were protesting opposite the Ministry of Health premises since last afternoon, dispersed this morning. They dispersed after officials agreed to provide time to discuss matters with Minister of Health on the 21st of this month. The All Ceylon Dengue Control Assistance Association entered the premises of the Ministry of Health requesting to fulfill their demands. The protesters remained at the premises till dawn today. The protesters requested for dengue control assistants be made permanent employees and to refrain from deploying them on multi-purpose services. The protesters were given an opportunity to hold a discussion with officials attached to the Ministry of Health today. During the meeting, officials gave a written undertaking to schedule a discussion with the relevant officials on the 21st of this month. More news. A protest demanding the government to remove the surcharge tax of 25% imposed on the employees' funds be removed is currently being held in Narayanpeta. News from the health sector here in Sri Lanka. The Ministry of Health informs that the COVID-19 cases reported in the country has increased by 35% compared to last week. Dr. Anwar Hamdani, COVID Prevention Coordinator for the Ministry of Health, said the death toll has also increased by 15% in the country.
We see patients depend on oxygen and receiving treatment at the intensive care unit has increased by 4%. Around 7,000 patients are receiving treatment at both government and private hospitals. 3,000 patients are receiving in-house treatments. If we put this together, we have around 11,000 patients. What we reiterate is to protect yourself.
Meanwhile, 36 COVID-19 related deaths were reported in the country yesterday. Accordingly, the total number of fatalities in the country currently stands at 15,692. Meanwhile, 1,263 COVID-19 cases were reported in the country yesterday. Total cases reported in the country currently stands at 623,248.
There is a possibility that people without any symptoms could spread the disease. They can be among us. As a result, it is important to protect ourselves. The biggest issue is that people are not taking the Omicron variant seriously.
Taking a look at a story that has been making its round lately. Foreign Minister Professor G.L. Peiris presented the bill to amend the Prevention of Terrorism Act number 48 of 1979. The second reading of the bill will take place tomorrow.
Mr. Speaker, I present a bill to amend the Prevention of Terrorism Temporary Provisions Act number 48 of 1979.
The Minister of Justice has stated, it's in the press today, that the PTA would be totally repealed and another counter-terrorism act will be introduced. So that's why I want to ask the Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs, why then is he presenting this slipshod amendment to Parliament?
All these criticisms can be made on the floor of Parliament when this bill is debated. That is the proper occasion for any views for and against the amendment to be expressed in Parliament, Mr. Speaker. That is the proper procedure, and the government wishes to adhere to the proper procedure.
Thank you. News coming from the Parliament this afternoon. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa spoke about the current economic situation of the country.
We have to put a stop to this deteriorating situation. We only have reason to the value of 3 weeks of imports. Isn't the government aware of it? Why is the government oblivious to this reality? That's because the government perceives, due to the majoritarianism that persists in the government circles, they feel extremely comfortable in their cushy and plush lives at the expense of taxpayers' funds. People in our motherland are suffering.
Meanwhile, former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe requested a report on the debt burden of the country in Parliament as well.
වගන්තය යටතේ මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට තමයි රාජ්‍ය මුදල් පාලනය ලැබිලා තියෙන්නේ. අපි විටින් විට ඉල්ලා තිබුණා සමහර තොරතුරු ලැබිලා නැහැ. කෙසේව මං යෝජනා කරන්න කැමතියි මෙතනින් ඉල්ලීමක් කරන්න.
The Parliament has the power over public finances. We requested information frequently, however some details were not given. I would like to request the Working Committee on State Funds during the first weeks of the monthly parliamentary sessions provide this House with a report on state debt. After making the request, we can discuss the same. Especially need clear details on foreign reserves. Nowadays the reports contain both credit lines and swaps together. Provide them separately. There is a rumor that our foreign reserves are lesser than $1 billion. If we do this at least once a month, we can establish stability in the foreign reserves. Also provide us with the IMF report on the discussion with the government. Thereafter we can discuss matters pertaining to this and future course of action. As I communicated yesterday when he made the same request, we will discuss this at the party leaders meeting. Once the report on Article 4 is presented, we can discuss matters. Secondly, the former Prime Minister knows there is a mid-year report. Now he is asking for a monthly report.
දෙවෙනි කාලේ ඊට පෙර ආතුව හිටපු අගමැතිතුමා මතු කරපු කාරණය එතුමා දන්නවා මිඩ්ිය ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් රිපෝට් එකක් ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ. ඉතින් දැන් ඔබතුමා කියන්නේ මිඩ්ිය නැතුව මාසිකව ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න කියලා to the PSC.
What is the cause of the power crisis in Sri Lanka? Is it not taking steps to generate electricity? The opposition questioned this in Parliament.
One story propagated by the government is that not a single megawatt was added after 2015. I saw a few ministers recently making this statement. Not only did we launch the Mana wind power plant, but we also added many megawatts into the national grid through solar panels that were mounted on roofs. The capacity at the power plants is not the main reason for the power crisis in the country. There is a power crisis in the country due to the delays in bringing down fuel, furnace oil and coal. The allegation that not a single megawatt was added into the national grid was because not a single power plant was constructed. What about the wind power plant? You had built one, had you not? Don't say that. Speak the truth. That project too was started during the period of Mahinda Rajapaksa, and the previous government was not able to finish the project. Similarly, if our government too launches a power project, and if these issues are not resolved, we will have to stand by as someone else declares open the project that we started. That is the reason why we are changing the laws to enable any government that launches a power plant project to complete it within about 1.5 to 2 years. We were looking forward to hear your speech at the rally in Anuradhapura, but you were not given an opportunity to speak at the rally. I don't know if you have been removed from the group.
විශේෂයෙන්ම ඔබතුමාගෙන් අහන්නේ කවුද බුරන්නේ පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්නකෝ ඉතින් පොඩ්ඩක් අපි දෙන්න විශේෂ ගන්න පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්නකෝ කුට්ටි ඉන්නකෝ මුට්ටිය දාන්න තෝ ඔබතුමා ප්‍රශ්නේ අහන්න කෑ ගහනවනේ කතා කරනකොට අර හරක් ටික බෙදලා දාන්නකෝ අර කතා නැගදෝ හරක් ටික බෙදලා දාන්නකෝ ගරු කතා ඔබතුමාට ප්‍රශ්නේ අහන්න ඉඩ හරින්න දෙන්නේ නැහනේ ඕසාව හරි අහන්න ඔව් ඔබතුමාලා බල. The rally yesterday was organized by the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. It was not organized by all the parties who helped this government to rise to power.
A media briefing organized by the All Island Farmers Association was held in Giritale in the Polonnaruwa district this morning.
The president attended a rally yesterday along with government henchmen and said that income of farmers will be increased with or without fertilizer. I would like to ask him whether he learnt a new formula from the United States. Farmlands in the country are now destroyed. On the other hand, Mahindananda Alutgamage says he will pay compensation to farmers when he visited Vavuniya. These are all ridiculous statements. The tenure of the local government and provincial council elections was extended by another year. It was then told that the election cannot be held due to COVID-19. We saw that a rally was held in Anuradhapura yesterday. So we don't see COVID-19 will be an issue for election. The Rajapaksas are popular for holding elections. So please hold the elections. We are for elections. Rajapaksas were never afraid of elections. Mahinda Rajapaksa is a leader who took measures to hold the presidential elections and even got defeated. As a result, now that you are asking, we will give. Not only we will give, but also we will also emerge victorious.
Speaking at a press briefing, Chief Executive of the Samagi Jana Balawega, Ajit P. Pereira, expressed the following views regarding the Indo-Sri Lanka agreement and the Indian fishermen issue in the north.
The Attorney General has stated that the agreement to hand over the oil tanks in Trincomalee to India, including provisions that indirectly allows India to fully control the oil tanks, are unconstitutional. The government that vowed to reclaim the properties that were sold have come to a point of selling valuable assets to foreign countries along with the sovereignty of the people. The economically vulnerable government has been unable to chase away invading Indian fishermen. As a result, the fishermen in the north are affected by illegal encroachments by Indian fishermen. Indian trawlers are stealing the massive fish stocks in the north. Stop the Indian invasion in the northern seas. The government does not have the strength to do that.
ඉන්දියාවේ දීවරය අතින් මැරුම් කන. ඒ වගේම උතුරේ අපිට හිමි මත්ස්‍ය සම්පත දහස් ගණන් ට්‍රෝල යාත්‍රා ඇවිල්ලා හොරකම් කරගෙන යන්නේ. ඉන්දියානු ආක්‍රමණය, ඉන්දියානු මුහුදු ආක්‍රමණය නතර කරන්න, එහෙම කරන්න මේ ආණ්ඩුවට ශක්තියක් නැහැ.
Former President Maithripala Sirisena left for South Korea this morning, that is to attend the 2022 World Summit that begins in Seoul tomorrow.
The former president will deliver the keynote address at the inaugural session of the summit, which will be attended by delegates from 157 countries. Former President Maithripala Sirisena is attending the summit following an official invitation extended by the former United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and the Cambodian Prime Minister. The conference will be held for 3 days, starting tomorrow.
Sri Lanka's Department of Prisons is considering the option of introducing house arrest for those imprisoned for minor offences. The option is being considered as a measure to minimize congestion across Sri Lankan prisons, and it will be implemented as a 5-year program.
The Department of Prisons said the house arrest program will be introduced in Sri Lanka, similar to those used overseas, as an alternative to imprisoning people convicted of minor offences. It added that this program will not only reduce the number of those convicted for minor offences serving their sentences in prison and reduce congestion, but it will also cut down state expenditure. In addition, the Department of Prisons also hopes to introduce the house arrest program for those who fail to pay their fines and allow them to be employed in order to pay the said fine and be released from house arrest.
Latest from the Russia-Ukraine tensions, Russia's EU ambassador has told the BBC his country still believes diplomacy can help de-escalate the crisis over Ukraine.
Vladimir Chizov said Moscow had no intention of invading anybody, but warned it was important not to provoke Russia into changing its mind. It comes after a flurry of diplomatic activity on Monday and Tuesday. Russia has repeatedly denied any plans to invade Ukraine. But with well over 100,000 troops massed near the Ukrainian border, some Western countries, including the US, have warned that a Russian attack could come at any time.
And that's a wrap of the news this afternoon. Thank you for watching.
Controlled swathes of territory.
Gum matter came across the old Kautaputa village in Hinguragoda in 2020 when traversing from door to door. By then, clean drinking water was a luxury to 600 families. Kidney patients